Hello, hello everyone. Hello, welcome. Hang on, just need to get my iPad. Just 1 second. I forgot my iPad because I just like to have a quick look to make sure that the stream is running okay. Make sure I look beautiful as ever. That's one. This one. Content. Live. Oh. I don't know whether or not I am live or not. Let's fingers crossed that I am. Oh yes, current stream. Let me just turn the sound up to make sure I sound all right. Yeah, that's all done. Brilliant. Welcome in and welcome to another week of GM Prep. We had a fantastic session last night. Really 100% enjoyed it. So many excellent things happened, but also a whole load of things for me to sort out today and to make sure that I'm on track with everything. Please do remember, hopefully my bot is in. Hopefully it'll shout out in a second, fingers crossed. There we go. Just to remind you that you can actually have a look at all our RPG stuff down via this link. It's in the chat as well, so do have a look at it and do follow. Absolutely fantastic if you can follow. We really do appreciate that. The other thing to remind you is that all our RPG stuff, all our worlds are also available, and they're available via World Anvil. So for example, this is the link to the World Anvil for Votaris 42.7. So that's there if you need it as well. Okay then, so let's get straight into this scene. I think I'm generally better if I'm over the opposite side. So let me just come in here and down to here. So things are going well. I've actually put in an additional scene into Through the Swamp, and if you remember, the Through the Swamp scene was when lots of things were going to happen, and I got really into if I was playing Shadowrun, you know, if I was lucky enough to play Shadowrun, I would play a rigger, despite sort of like having I think a mage would be a close second as long as I could have lots of spirits, but I really like the idea of rigging and riggers and drones and things like that. So one of the things that I've put in is to try to demonstrate how good riggers are in the actual world of M-Space, because it's something that in the companion, oops, what's happening here? In the companion, in this excellent book here, you get robots, and you get normal robots and small robots and things like that. So what I've done is that I had a go at creating a character and then creating it out with its drone, so it's all ready to actually play. This is him, So he's got all his sort of like different drones, etc. I've actually got an Excel spreadsheet also with all his data on, so I can have it all up at the same time. And the idea of this is that he's going to bombard the players with some combat drones, and I actually managed to find some excellent pack by Gabriel Picard, and these are actually them. Hopefully you could see them there. These are them, and they're going to come down, and they got blasters on that does 2d6 damage, I think it is. So it's going to be really exciting. We had a fantastic battle on this map. Really interesting battle. And the first thing that I think I might have got wrong is the sort of like the scale from one end to the other. But then I thought I probably have got it right, because this ship's nearly like 100 meters, and it'll probably be possibly even bigger than that. So it seemed a long distance, say from this tree to this was sort of like 30 meters, which was a long way for them to dash, but it also brought in range, etc., etc., like that. But one of the things that came up last night in the game was this idea of taking cover. And I've been chatting on the Discord with other DMs, and absolutely fantastic that they're there so you can sort of like bounce off ideas and say what you want to do and what you think should be done, etc., etc. So I just wondered whether or not did I actually finish this one. Oh, I did. That's good. So that's actually there, which is brilliant. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to add here is a new document, a new article within rules to do about taking cover and being in cover. I'm trying to decide at the moment whether or not it's really helpful having everything on World Anvil, and super helpful, but sometimes I'm wondering whether or not I'll be better having some kind of a card index so I can pull things out really quickly rather than searching for them. But I don't know. I haven't decided which way to go yet, but it'd be one or the other. Firing from cover. So this is like from cover. This is when the people are in cover already and they're firing out. So if you watched last night's live stream, they're lying down on the floor, they're behind a tree firing out. Okay. If firing from cover, hit locations will gain the armor points of the object they are taking cover behind. Now, what was that? What was the name of that? I just notice here I've already got an article that says combat styles and taking cover. I wonder what that's about. Oh, this is no longer applicable, because this was when I had a misunderstanding about taking cover, and I thought it was like parrying, but it's not. It's an opposed roll. So that needs to be removed. Let's just what was that? I'm sure I had something called objects. That's what it's called. Let's see if we can just find it. Taking cover behind. That's good. Let's get rid of that so you can see it. APs can be found on the following table. Objects and armor points. There you go. If opponent is lying down, then only head and arms can be hit. No armor points for the ground are taken into consideration. Okay, so that's fine. So I get that. That's not a problem at all. Okay, so now there's firing from taking cover. So this is a I'm going to number these. Reactive action. This is reactive. Opposed roll. Combat style versus evade. If successful, target is out of sight and takes no damage. Okay, similar to evade, but not prone. For cover must be available. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. So if somebody shoots at me, I can opt to take a reactive roll and a reactive action to take cover. We roll the two dice. As long as we're both successful, it's the highest dice roll that wins. If I win, then I've taken cover. If I don't win, then I take damage. Full stop. Just the same as evade or parrying or anything like that. Okay, so the issue that we had, firing from cover and taking cover. So this was the issue that we had last night. So what were happening, and I can show you from the picture. So for example, this guy here was firing from cover. Okay, so he was already behind something, and then people were trying to shoot him. Okay, and this was when it got really difficult. If he takes a taking cover reaction action, what happens? Where does he go? Where does he end up? How is that played out, etc, etc, etc. So I'm going to try to talk my way through it so I've got a good understanding of this and so it makes sense. Okay, up here. When firing from cover, head and arm will be available to be hit. Okay, and will not have the object AP. Okay, so I need to put that in just so I remember what's going on here. Okay then. So let's work through this and see what happens. Okay. So when we're firing, somebody comes up, fires, and the person is in cover already. Okay. That's the essence to it. Okay. So number one, firing at someone who is firing from cover. Okay. Person firing from cover opts to take cover reactive action. Okay. 2, 3. Sorry. Okay then. So now it's almost like what wins and what doesn't. So let's say A is the attacker, B is the defender in cover. Okay then. So for opposed roll is opposed roll with combat style versus evade, because that's the take cover action. Okay then. So if B is successful, B takes no damage, they are in cover. They are in complete cover. Same as duck. I never know whether or not it's duck down or duck back when it comes to the special action that they have. If you hear the fan, then let me know and I'll turn it off. Combat actions. No. What was that? Duck back. Yeah, it's duck back. Back. Combat special. Okay. If A is successful and hang on, we don't need to know that. If B is unsuccessful, then A can roll for hit location. Or elect to use choose location if in short range. Okay. The head and the firing arm do not have the benefit of the cover AP. Rest of body does. So from B, the person who it's rolling behind, there's two things that can happen. Because they are firing from cover, and this is the important bit, they're not out in the open, they're actually firing from cover, then they either, if they're successful, they duck down and they're completely out of cover. The damage can still go onto the actual object and try to penetrate that if needed. If they are unsuccessful, then they don't manage to duck back altogether, and so they could be hit on the head or the firing arm without the AP, or the AP of the object will be used for the rest of the if it hits anywhere else on the body, depending on how B is positioned. So obviously if they're lying down on the floor on the top of a hill, they can't have their chest hit because it would have to go through the hill. Okay. 5. Damage can be done to B if the amount of damage exceeds the AP of the cover. So no matter what, they can actually fire through the cover and whack. And that's really sensible, because if somebody's hiding behind, you know, a door, then you can actually fire through the door and hit the person on the other side. And now there is another rule that I found the other day. The attacker can fire blind into the cover if they are aware of where the opponent is. Okay, so if they know roughly where they are, then they could do that. So I don't know if you've watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. But there's a wonderful scene in the film when Brad Pitt, they found out that they each other are spies and they're trying to shoot each other. And Brad Pitt is on one side of the wall where the stairs are, and Angelina Jolie's on the other side, and he knocks over a pot, manages to catch one bit of it, but the lid hits down. So with that noise, Angelina Jolie turns her shotgun round and fires at the wall. Well, this is what this is. This is exactly what this is. However, the difficulty roll is one step higher. So if it was standard, then it would be hard for them to do that. So it's not just taking a normal shot, it's actually getting harder. And that is applicable then, not a problem. Right. I just wanted to check with choose location when using choose location is a critical success only unless the target is within close range and is either stationary or unaware of the target. Okay then. So that's not anything to do with this. This is just additional information down here at the bottom. Choose location. This is a critical success unless in short range for the weapon or the target is stationary or unaware of the attack. Now, so my thing, I was talking about it early on, but one of the things that I'm thinking about now is, do I put all this on like a flash card, on a card that I have a little box? I have a little, sorry, I'll show you. So I have something like this that I could write it all onto. So if I quickly needed something, I could just pull it out. So I'm in two minds whether or not I do something like that. It's interesting that, and if you haven't seen them, let me grab them. I bought right at the beginning of my journey with Mythras, I bought the combat cards. Okay, and these are absolutely brilliant because they're like quick reckoners. So if somebody says stun location, then I know what to do with them. It also has a nice picture and says that you can only do it with bludgeoning weapons or shields. And it sort of like says, if the blow overcomes armor, defender must make an endurance versus original attack, or location is incapacitated, so forth and so on. And so there's like trip opponent, and the red are attacks, and then the greens are defense, and it sort of like tells me whether or not it's sort of like a crit or not, and whether or not it needs it. I don't know where the crit part comes on. Oh yes, on this, on the other part, so you can see. And I find these really useful in the game, just to have out as like ready reckoners. So I think I might actually go with the cards, just because when I'm streaming, I've actually got one screen with Roll20 on, one with OBS on, and another screen with all the adventure on and things. And moving things round about all the time is a nightmare. So I might do that. And that might be helpful. Right. That sounds to me really clear. And all I need to do is remember that when we're going into combat next time, is that if they're successful, they take no damage. If they're unsuccessful, then they can elect to do something. So they can, of course, just fire into the cover. They are allowed to do that, you know, because they know where they are. So they can try to blast through it. We had some really poor rolls yesterday. Let me just switch over to the other side so you can see the rolls. There was some really poor rolls. Poor Io had a lot of poor rolls. We were talking about this in the stream this afternoon, but if you look at Zach's damage. Okay, so when we up here, if you look, so that damage there, so he actually rolls 3d6s. Okay, so he rolls 3d6s for his damage with his shotgun. He rolled a 1 and 1 and a 3, so 2 1s and a 3 on that roll, which is a sort of like, what? And then on this one, he rolled 2 3s and a 1. And he's just sort of like, what is going on here? And I thought, I was sat there thinking, I'm sure this gun does more damage. Why is he doing piffling amount of damage here? And then all of a sudden, he did 17, 665. And also, like, I think that was the bit that he blew away he rolled for the right leg, did that, blew away part of the tree and the leg behind it, and the guy went down, which was brilliant. So the other thing that I noticed, I was trying to make sure that the sniper rifle had some ranges on it. Can you see it has no range on it? Which means it's not actually on the sheet. So I thought what I would do here is actually put those ranges on here. Now the difficulty is that it's actually on a let me see if I can find it. Crest firearms PDF. That's not it. It is like, I think this is it, but I've got a, this is it, but I've got a paid version of it. Hang on, let me just check it on mine, because I've got it open here. 900, 1,500, 5,000. So that's, what was the first one? 900. 900, 1,500 / 5,000. So that now, when we use that, should actually come up with that range next to it, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, so the other thing that I'm wondering about this sniper rifle, there is an aiming action. And I'm not too sure whether or not it needs to have, whether or not the sniper rifle needs to be aimed, if that makes sense. I'm not too sure whether or not it sort of like has that ability just to shoot straight off. But I think if you aim, attack, move, drop weapon. Oh, it's not in the game. That's all right then. So it's not actually in the game at all. So that's not a problem. I suppose it's quite easy to put in. I think the rule is that if you aim for a certain amount of one turn, then the difficulty becomes easy rather than standard, which is fine. The other thing that I'm interested about the sniper rifle, and it's not in the sense that I just want to make sure that we're playing the rules right for it, is there like a minimum range for it? So is there a certain range that it has to be at? So if they're like 10 meters away, can you still use the sniper rifle? Because it's so close. I mean, that first range bracket, 0 to 900 meters, is quite away, and it's how that's used. I might have to check that in the RQ, the RuneQuest firearms, to see whether or not it makes any specification about that, and then we can go with that. I think it's really nice, and you can have telescopic sights put on, but I feel you can't just say, because a telescopic sight, if it's a times 12, increases your short range by 12 times. So for example, if we were looking at sort of like Newman's shotgun, minimum range, short range is up to 20 meters away, so that would be multiplied by 12, so that would be like 2,400, wouldn't it? But you can't just stick it on and then expect to use it. I think there has to be some kind of aiming and probably a minimum range, but that might be just getting things a little bit too complicated, and I might just sort of like step in and say, okay then, you know, in order to shoot you have to spend one turn aiming if you're going to use the scopes, which I think makes sense, and then you get that advantage off, rather than just sort of like peppering it off without using it at all. So I'll check on that at a later date. Okay, I'm comfortable with that. The only other thing that came up last night was Io, who got some really bad rolls as well early on when she was trying to hack the communication system, asked whether or not she could hack a gun. Okay, and I stated this morning to them that in order to hack anything, it must have a wireless connection. If it doesn't have a wireless connection, then you can't hack it. So if it had a smart gun link enabled, then that might have a wireless connection, and so you can hack the smart gun link, but not necessarily the weapons. So I'm not going completely Shadowrun here. I'm going sort of like halfway house Shadowrun, trying to sort of like find a link between a common ground, a halfway house. The other thing that I did put in the adventure is that we put the hallucinating drugs in, and the only other thing that I put in here was that I put the potency of the here. I put the potency in, and the fact that it'd be a willpower check. And if you're looking about how to use poisons and diseases, then I'm going to do a Mythras rules video. It's already done. I just need to edit it in September, so that'll be coming up. And talking about that, I'm also going to do one on blood loss, because that brings us into our Mythras campaign. Now, as you may or may not be aware, if you were here last week, we were thinking about ideas for our Mythras campaign, and we got a huge amount done. Let me just swap to Mythras, and we can see how much we actually got done. And we started to sort of like collate ideas, if you remember. This is what we had come up with. So there was quite a lot. And one of the things that I was sort of like puzzled with was, what did I want as the main monster? And this is what I really wanted to actually home in onto. And I felt that if at one point I'd got an image of them, then that would be fantastic. So I spent quite a few days or nights, it seemed, searching Mythras, Roll20, to see if I could find a token that I liked, that I thought actually matched them. And after a lot of searching, I actually found one. And it'll be interesting what you think of it. I'm really happy about it, so it's going to be used no matter what. I actually found it. Where did I find it? Was it this one? Yeah. So I found these. Okay, and I just feel they're so good. Let's see if I could just make it a bit bigger for you. Oh no, it doesn't. I just found these and thought, this is what I want. So it looks quite tribal, and there's sort of like different types of them, as you can see. There are some skeletons, but there's hang on, there's some like that one we've got. Here's one of the others that it comes in the set, which I quite liked. I quite like the look of them. They look quite tribal. They look quite sinister, which I wanted. And then the other thing that it came with it, and these weren't necessarily, the first lot were ghouls, and these weren't ghouls. These are actually classified technically as wights. But I thought these would do really well for like the witch doctors and higher up, because I thought they looked very tribal. I really liked it. So these were from, it's called the Dark Lord pack, and it's by a wonderful creator called Gabrielle Picard. Really good. I use a lot of their stuff, and really like it. So we've got this idea now that these creatures here, I know what they're like. And I did want to put in here, this is so I know actually what this is, they're all going to be like. I'm going to put equivalent to ghouls here. Roll20 tokens. Okay, and I wanted to do this idea of bloodsuckers because I wanted it to link it to blood loss in the core rule book, because I thought that would be really interesting. And I thought initially what I would do is demonstrate it to an NPC or something like that, so they get an idea of it. But when they sort of like inspect the actual dead creatures, their teeth have been sharpened. They do not have fangs. And I thought that's a real interesting, because initially they'll be thinking vampires, this, that and the other, but all of a sudden when they actually look at them, then all of a sudden they notice that they've been artificially changed rather than magically changed. And so there's this hideous group of tribal folk that are actually using human sacrifices, basically. I also started to think of some spirits, and I really like the idea of insect spirits for this. And I also was thinking about leeches. I thought leeches would be a really good spirit, etc. And then I thought maybe one of my initial ideas for the spirits was more about location. And I thought this would really match up to a swamp spirit that had all these nastiness, these insect biting, these leeches, these bloodsuckers, and really reflect the actual location that these people lived at. Then I had an issue because there is no swamp nearby. Okay, and then I thought, right, a spirit can create a swamp. So the party will encounter a swamp where there was not one before on farmland. So as they journey northwards, if you remember, they're coming up here. Even the grass under the feet turned black and the houses started to rot and weaken. This is when land is turning into a swamp. And this is when I thought this really now sort of like captivates this idea of these swamp spirits, these shamans or shamans who are working with quite nasty, hideous, really not nice spirits. They delight in death and decay, not seen as the circle of life like the spirit of death do, but more as a place for pain and suffering. And so this is when we've got this sort of like infestation. So before, rather than going underground, it's all set in a swamp, which I know echoes M Space at the moment, but it just seems too good to be true. It really does. And I just thought it would be really interesting. I can't get my head away from this swamp at the moment, and whether or not I can swap it out so it's not necessarily a swamp, then that would be it would be good, because therefore I'm not sort of like using the same sort of like idea over and over again. So one of the so this is Adobe. That's a brilliant frog picture. Landscape of dead trees, blacken soil and grey skies. Let's see what it comes up with. And thank you to Matt last week suggesting that I use AI to create some of the images. This is when I have, oh, perfect, absolutely perfect. That is exactly what we wanted, isn't it? I love this one. Is fantastic. I love this one. And I love this one as well. They're both perfect, aren't they? So the question is, and I can use these as pictures, you know, with black and grey skies, rotting, decayed farmhouse, and and dead animals. Right, let's see what it comes up with now. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I mean, this one's not so good, but I think this one and this one's brilliant. I love it. I might get what happens if I get rid of that blackened? What happens if we go just with that? What does it come up with? Let's put, I think we need and dead skeleton animals, see what comes up with. Right, I think I actually like the first attempt that it did with it, but I'm happy with some of those. I like this one. This one's good. Let's refresh it and see what else we get. No, I think I'm happy with the one I've got there so far. So what we can do with these is that we can upload them straight to Roll20 now, and then because we've uploaded them, let's just create a new folder. Spirits Advanced, I'm going to call it. I really would like something that is not a swamp but depicts these sort of like places. Oh, I think we can only upload one at a time. Just so you know, if you're thinking about them, if you look at the spirits that I've already created, so the spirits that we've already got are spirit of life, spirit of death, decay and darkness. We've put down here spirit of malice, destruction, pain and torture. That's what we sort of like had here. I think we'll come to it slowly. Upload completed. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so we can now take that and pop it. If we open that spirit one, we should be able to Come on, why won't you go into that folder, Mr. Oh, there we go. Right, let's upload another one. Interestingly enough, they have the Firefly logo on, but I'm not fussed about that. I think it should have that on to sort of like say this was not created by me. You know, I know it sort of like maybe removes some of the immersion of it, but at the same time, I think it's important to give credit when credit is due. That one goes there. And then there should be one last one, this one, yeah. And then that can go into that top one. Onto the little hamburger menu, up it goes. And what this means now is that on this place, I will be able to hopefully see that folder. He says hopefully. Oh. I thought it copied across, but maybe it doesn't. It's all right. We can go from my library here. I don't mind that, and pull it across from here. So that's absolutely fine. So it's whether or not we stay with this spirit here. I almost like need another spirit classification for it. It's not reflecting a swamp anymore. When you look at those pictures, it's not sort of like swampish. It's worse than that. So we'll work on that. We'll continue to work on that as we move along. Now, just before I go, because I don't want to be on too late tonight, because I was at work all yesterday, and so had a frantic day yesterday. I wanted to start creating a new document here all about movement, because I wasn't sure yesterday whether or not I was playing the movement correctly or not. So did that create? I can't see it. Oh yes, it did. There it is. Okay, let's go straight into edit that. Okay then, so I need to know the sort of like the I had to brush up on the movement people can do, and one of the things that I felt was going to happen yesterday was people were going to use their movement almost like in D&D fashion, rush up to somebody and stab them and then rush away. And you know, and it's interesting because you can do that, but I thought all your movement had to be at once. Okay, so movement, provided he is not engaged with an opponent, the character can move any distance the game master deems suitable for the situation. So there is no sort of like required, you can only move so and so. Now in Mythras, the core rule book, it expands on that slightly more. Don't you love a good rule book? You know, the feel of it and what it looks like. I really like them. Right, move. Provided he's not engaged with an opponent, the character can move any distance the game master deems suitable. The move combat action is not required for every instance of movement during combat. One does not need to spend an action point to move to engage an opponent. For instance, a character crossing an open field to engage would spend one to cover the distance. He would not, though, need to spend a further action to initiate contact. He may use his next... Okay, then. So this is just being... this is sort of like just saying to us, right, you can go as far as you want, isn't it? That's generally what it's saying. Movement is broken down into 3 gates, which are walking, running and speed. Walking is the average speed a member of a particular species ambles along with. This is normally referred to as base rate. Now, okay, then there's running and sprinting. So in a combat round, the person can move 4 meters. So that's not in a turn. That is in a round, which is the equivalent of 5 seconds. So each round will have a number of turns in it. So if we look at a character from Mythras, let me bring up one of the old retired characters. So if we bring up Ulrich here, he has, or he did, they used to have movement specified somewhere on the character sheet, but it doesn't look like it's there anymore. It literally looks like it's this. Oh no, here, movement 6. So this character can move 6 meters in a combat round. That's how much they can move, and that's it. So that they could run. So it actually states in Mythras, when you look at just movement, that they can also, running is like double the amount, I think. Maximum running speed is triple the movement rate, which may vary according to the bonus granted by athletic skills. Sprinting is a flat out movement, 5 times the movement rate. Tactical movement during combat is explained in more detail in page 101, engagement. Okay, let's have a look at 101. Okay, an important concept of close combat is engagement. Character is considered engaged if he's within melee weapon range. This does not necessarily require both. Okay then, once a character has engaged with an opponent, he can no longer freely depart the fight. It requires some sort of deliberate attack to break free from the foe. This is normally performed with a combat change range or outmaneuver. Certain circumstances will allow the character to engage multiple foes. Okay, this is not what I want. So that's all about withdrawing from combat, etc. Now, when Destin came out, they changed the rule again. And also, I've got so many rule books, as you can see. Oops, I just dropped one there. What am I looking for? That's take cover, not that. That's the maze one, which is an excellent adventure, that one. What I'm looking for is the companion. So the Mythras companion brought into I just found something in the companion called Sanity and Corruption. We definitely need to read that, don't we? Definitely need to read that. Okay. This is, so in the companion, it has something about tactical movement. When measuring distance between two. See, I don't want to get so far into the combat that it becomes too technical. Right, a character choosing to walk may move up to their movement rate. A walking character may choose any of the following actions: attack, cast magic, and water. Walk may also be used to move a character into engagement. Right, okay. A character choose running may run up to 3 times. A character may only choose to divot, ward location, or evade. When running, characters may move into any of the front squares. Okay, then, and then sprinting. Oh, right. So basically what it's saying, okay, then, if you want to, we don't need that. If you want to rush up, so if we sort of like bring it on to sort of like because using anything like roll 20 gets tactical. It literally gets tactical very quickly. Have I got any? Oh yes, down here. Look, we've got some. Oops. Let me move that up. So here we've got a whole load of werewolves, etc. So basically, do I have measurements on here? Yeah, okay then. So I could move up to 6 meters, which is my movement, but I can only do certain actions at the end of it if I'm walking. If I'm running, I can only do certain actions. Okay. The other thing is how much moving is not independent action, and for the person is dropped as a combat action. During the first action of each round, each player chooses a movement gate for their character: hold ground, walk, run, or sprint, and moves accordingly to that gate throughout that round. The choice of actions will determine the possible movement gate, with the chosen gate when determining actions when later in the round. Only one movement gate may be chosen per 5-second round. The character is moved half the possible movement distance on the first cycle and half again on the second. The character need not move the full distance if a slower pace is desired, but still limited to the actions these movement gates are. So, it's interesting here because this actually gives the information for from Destined as well. Hey Darth, how are you doing? Hope you're looking good and feeling fine. We're deep into combat at the moment. So there's quite a list here. So it's a bit like saying evade. movement restrictions. The character may be moving at any gait other than sprint to evade. I think what they do here is actually first cycle, second cycle, all characters are performing. So I need to have a look at this. So in the companion, it has tactical combat, and because we're playing on roll 20, it gets tactical. You know, I mean, for example, if anybody was watching last night's adventure, let me just pop it up onto the screen. Last night's adventure was a classic example of tactical combat when people like were moving to see whether or not they could have line of sight. So like there was a mob here, and Hammond was down here at this tree, and what they were trying to do is sort of like say, okay then, here's my line of sight that goes through that tree, so I can't do it. So they would say, hang on a minute, if I move to here, do I then have line of sight to that person? And so it became very tactical, and I've been feeling so much better today. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear that, Darth, so pleased. Do you think it's exercise, or do you think something's just passed, or stress at work knowing that you're going to be have 6 days off soon? So I think it's really, we have to get quite tactical about it, so they actually understand where things are, especially when we get to oh no, I don't want to put them on there, just me. Especially when we get onto this map. This is going to be so important. Something, yeah, maybe a bit. Well, yeah, I think it does. It was interesting. I've had no shake at all. Ever since I cut down my coffee, I've had no shakes at all. They've been very limited and very minor. Yesterday morning, when I had to go to work, they started again. Right from the beginning. I didn't have any coffee to start off with or anything like that. They just started. And then as soon as I got home, they stopped again. And my feeling is now, a lot of people might say, oh, it's all to do with work, so and so and so and so. But my feeling is now, okay, inwils, how can you, what must you do mentally so you're not getting stressed and agitated about work? Because it's not something that I can avoid. I can't just sort of like say, I'm not doing this anymore. You know, I have to do it. So it's almost like, how can I just mentally in that to sort of like have a good understanding of it. So yeah, so I'm going to have to read up on that. Read up on tactical movement from the companion. The companion is a really nice book because our names are actually in the play testing part of it. Our names are our real names are actually there, which is absolutely fantastic. Movement restrictions with actions. and also movement phase, declare what you are doing. Hold ground, walk, run, sprint, etc. Okay, that's really good. I'm just going to open. I'll bring you across to it in a second. Let me do that now so you can see what I'm doing. Just come here. Screen share. I want you to see. Click up now. So, okay then, what do we need to do here? Check, read sanity and corruption. From Mythras companion. I'm going to give that a blue flag. I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to tag it with Mythras. Read tactical movement from companion. I'm going to give that a blue flag, and I'm going to tag that as M space, because I need to do it. So just to so this is ClickUp, as you've seen before, and the reason I tag it with that blue, it doesn't mean normal priority at all. It just means that when I get to this part, so this is everything that I was due to do today. So ironing was done. Elder Scrolls Online I completed. Minecraft I did. These went live at 6 o'clock, so that's done. These were yesterday, so the washing's done. I did that this morning, and I vacuumed this morning, so I've got to wash the towels tomorrow, so that'll stay there. And then this area here is everything that I've got to work on. So these are not things that I have to do, it's just the thing that they are there, so I know I have to work on them. So if I decide to do some work, I've got those, and that's on top of so this is my scheduling timetable. So everything for the week 28th of the 8th, all the content for that is done. So tomorrow I'll upload it to Metric Cool, and then these are the 4 long videos that I'm doing. So this one is underway. Mythras podcast, I've got an interview next Wednesday for that. And then this is the content for the week beginning the 4th of September. So this week I'll get all that done, and then it'll move to ready. Okay, and then that's it. And then here, so next week, this is all the content. Now all this is done already, and it's all already scheduled and everything. So if I come here and just switch to Google Chrome, so this is metrical, and if I go to my planning, you can see, so that's today's, and you can see that all that is already lined up, ready to go right there up to this time next week. And then so tomorrow I'll start filling that one in, so forth and so on. So it's all gets all lined up. So this will come out on the 22nd. This is the content for that. So there's a lot that I do that I don't think people actually realize. So you can see, I mean, it's just week on week of content done and dusted. You know, that was when my systems failed. But when my systems fail, I try to sort of like think, okay, why did this fail, and what do I need to prevent that happening in the future. The other thing that is really good about this is that I get all my analytics from here. So what I'll do here, so this is my blog post, and I'll say sort of like for the last 30, or I'll say for example the previous month, I can see number of page views here. I can see how many people looked at it, etc. I can see my Instagram is slowly moving up. This is balance of followers to people leaving, and male and female, which I think is absolutely unbelievable. How many people look at my profile pictures? Growth, organic interactions, all my posts, and then Twitter is all there. So you can see I've had a drop in Twitter followers over the few weeks, etc. And then this is YouTube. YouTube is by far my best area, and it just keeps growing. There's not a huge amount of growth, but it's consistent. It's consistently increasing again and again and again and again, and this is by far my best sort of like platform. YouTube is, and of course it's the one that I'm actually partnered on. But just to see this, notice, okay, then so this one here, okay, so this freezing in space, that was last week's or whenever it was, end of July. So I actually made 0.02 pence on it. That's what I got. I got 2 pence on it. That's how much I got on it. So I mean, this one, that's the one that I did for work. So you can see that it's not a huge amount of profit that you get off things at all. But I mean, it's growing. It's slowly growing. That's TikTok, slowly growing and increasing. I try to think that too. Like, I feel I get stressed about work, but I look at the ways to, yeah, and I think that's what we have to do. Okay, I think the danger about it is always sort of like saying, oh, work is the issue here. I need to do something about work, and I don't think that is the case. I think we need to do something about how we approach it, you know, so forth and so on. Right, I know you've just arrived off, but I've been streaming since 6:30, but thank you so much. I've been streaming an hour and a half now, so I'm going to go and have a hot chocolate with my last 2 cookies. Then I'm going to get an early night. Tomorrow's run day, so I'll be running tomorrow nice and early, trying to get that 30-minute run in. I don't think I'm quite up to running 5k. I'm about 4.2 kilometers at the moment, but I will get there eventually. Yeah, so thank you, huge thanks for coming along, everybody. And don't forget that you can follow all our RPG content on this link. That's in the chat. I'll just stick it up in the thank you, I'll need it there, so by all means go and follow that, and all the links will be underneath this video as well. Thank you for coming along. I hope that's been interesting. Next time I think we really need to plow on with the Mythras adventure and really work on there. So we've got tokens now, and we've got a bit of, we'll look at rules, and we've got sanity and corruption to put in, which is going to be lots of fun, and we've got plenty coming along. So yeah, it'd be nice to see. Hopefully you enjoy some of the behind the scenes. Okay, I'm going to wish you all a good night. Have a wonderful week if I don't see you on Twitch throughout the week. Don't forget, I don't stream on Monday because I've had a packed weekend of streaming. I will be playing Guild Wars 2 on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, if possible. Wednesday, I've got an interview to do about 5 o'clock, so we'll see what happens for Mythras Matters podcast. But definitely Thursday as well. So keep an eye out for that. It'd be good to show off my Twilight sword again. Okay, till next time, stay safe. Happy role-playing, everyone. Happy streaming. Happy life and week. And I'll see you all later. Until then, look after yourself. See you later. Bye.